Are we live?
Yes, we're alive. Grant was just commenting about the beautiful display of nice trophies. Really do it up well, eh?
Well, the specialty shows are beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we're streaming now, so if you want to.
Are we?
Yeah, anytime.
Get my breath. It's first specialty of the day. Mastiffs.
They certainly look like a powerful dog, that is for sure.
Well, powerful dog in many, many ways. Because historically, they're a very ancient breed. You know, I think the Romans had them, they were war dogs.
So would you say then at some point they were more aggressive and they've bred that out of them? Or, you know, because they're such a good-natured dog right now.
They're very good-natured because big dogs need to be good-natured.
Yeah, that's true. You can't have a Yorkie personality in a Mastiff.
Not at all.
Right.
And so you want one that's solid, you want one that's trainable.
Trainable, that's important. Yes, trainable.
You know.
Well, you can just see the way they're walking around, like the eyes that they have of the owner.
Yes.
Like they would do anything to please the handler or the owner. They're just such, you can just tell their loyalty. And they would take a bullet for you. You can just tell by the breed, they would.
They're solid and reliable, but they also have to have great presence.
Yeah, that's a good word, presence.
Great presence.
And you as a judge, you can judge that in a presence about a dog. A look in the eye or the air about them.
And the style.
The style.
I mean, I think, I don't judge this group. But I mean, I've seen dozens and dozens.
Of course.
And I've attended several specialties in the United States where they've had huge entries of up to 100 of these.
And that, oh, what a challenge.
But that's also a gift to be able to see the potential of type and style.
Right.
And for me, in purebred dogs, that's a really important thing. It's what they were bred to do and where they were bred to do it. And
Right.
they have to look that way. Each breed of dogs is unique. And what is the uniqueness of this breed?
Well, I know you always emphasize you're supposed to judge the dog that best represents the breed. But when you have 100 of the same breed, you can't help but sort of compare. You know what I mean? Like that would only be human nature to compare the 100 against each other.
Yes. Well, because then you have to know the details and be able to observe the details of the dogs.
So do you find when you're judging like a specialty show that, like I would think like a judge for a specialty show almost would have this breed, or they have a love for that breed, or how does that work?
Well, I believe that you should have a passion for the breeds that you're judging.
Right, well that's true, yes.
And with that passion should come knowledge. Mm-hmm. That's what judging is all about.
But yet impartiality has to play a role because you judge the best of show of the Westminster Dog Show. So you have to say you were more partial to maybe the Sighthounds or, like I know that must be hard not to gravitate to the breed that you love.
That's the challenge.
That is a challenge. It would, because human nature has to kick in, right?
Absolutely. And so and of course, everybody's judging you as a judge. Too.
Oh, you're being judged, being a judge. It's like a referee, you know what I mean?
Right.
Everyone judges a judge.
Right.
And always someone has a comment, I'm sure, too. And what do they call it? Monday night quarterbacks, or what is it? Monday night quarterbacks or something like that. I don't know. Hindsight, you could have a lot of cliches with that. Hindsight's 20/20 for sure.
That's
well, when you have such passion for dog shows, that's why there's so many comments floating around.
Well, you see, I think that dogs are so important in our society, and I believe passionately that dogs, canines, are the only living record of man's journey on Earth.
That's true. You see the lithographs.
When we look at the Mastiffs here, they are bringing into this room here, into this ring, the Roman Empire. They're bringing in the wars of that era. They're bringing in how these dogs made our lives better and safer. And that's what they bring in the ring.
All right. Now these look like
So
older dogs.
This gentleman is judging the sweepstakes. So these are. This is before the best. This is before the breed judging.
Oh, okay. These dogs look a little older, or is that my imagination, or?
I don't know what class this is.
Oh, don't know, yeah. They're such a happy breed. Their tails are always wagging.
Well, they should be, as the point you were making earlier, you want solid temperaments that are reliable, but you also, because they're guard dogs, and they will also then become substantial, and firm, and solid.
No question about being solid. But they do have, I'm sure, a weight, plus and minus, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's like in any creature, human included, depending on what we do with our weight, changes the way we look. And so sometimes weight can interfere with our functioning.
Right.
Whether it's too little or too much.
Well, I know a couple people that own Mastiffs and Bull Mastiffs, and they're very dedicated owners. They'll adjust what kind of car they buy, and their whole lifestyle almost changes and works around this breed. They're so dedicated to the breed.
Well, these are not Bull Mastiffs.
Or I get those two mixed up, yes?
Yeah, see, but it's a good point you're making, because I stood at ringside at some shows, and I think, are these Bull Mastiffs or are they Mastiffs?
So why would they probably came from the sort of the same dog, so why would they make that distinction?
Different function.
Different, well, a Bull Mastiff and a Mastiff.
Bull Mastiffs were developed in England. They probably came out of the Mastiffs.
Right.
But they were built as guard dogs for people who were looking after the grounds of mansions and homes.
Right.
And that's a different function than what the Mastiffs were.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, leave it up to the English, of course, to perfect it, right?
Well, it's what we were talking about yesterday, in which countries developed what they need.
Of course. Well, yeah, that's the breeding. This is, you know what you're getting, and you know what you want.
I mean, we talked yesterday about the Great Danes going back to Egyptian era, 3,000 years ago. The Mastiffs, they go back to the same time period. Their gene pool is not just a couple of hundred years.
Yeah.
It's several thousand years.
And then you hear about the new breeds coming up, and then you look at a breed like this. It's just, as you say, it's all history.
Right.
It's quite the journey.
And I think it's important. See, I give the breeders credit, and especially for a breed like this, because it's not easy. It's expensive.
Yes.
And to have the facilities to house Mastiffs. You can't do it in a one-room condo.
Well, that's it. They're as I said, you have to be a dedicated dog owner to have these dogs. And if it's my imagination, but you say there's such a breed that's been around so long, they haven't really changed all that much. Like, I look at some of these breeds, we were talking about certain breeds, I won't mention who, that I like, and they've really evolved. They've gotten bigger, they've gotten heavier, and the breeders of these dogs have sort of like changed them. And the standard changes, but this breed is sort of true to its roots.
Well, that's the purpose of breeding, is to preserve what they're supposed to be. So, for example, there was a well-known dog person in Canada called Nigel Aubrey-Jones. He's passed away now. He's dead now. But he bred Pekingese, and he was a great dog person, originally from England. But one of his presentations, he said, you need to remember that the best Pekingese has already been bred. The responsibility of breeders is to preserve that.
Well, that's a good point.
And that's what breeding is all about. So that's the responsibility of breeders is to preserve the greatness. See, I don't think there's many wars going on like there were in Rome.
That's right.
But the breeders of Mastiffs want to preserve that piece of history.
Right.
And there are very few breeds, out of all the ones that are recognized, there are very few breeds that are actually doing the job that they were bred to do.
Well, that's true. And that's sort of sad, but, you know.
Well, because we don't need them. I mean,
that's right.
There's not many otters around for otter hounds to chase.
That's true, yes.
Especially in downtown Toronto.
Right. There's a lot of lap dogs, and that's why lap dogs have become so popular now, is because of the condos and everything that don't need a lot of exercise. What would your opinion be if you like the big dogs, but you live in an apartment? What would be a big dog that doesn't need a lot of exercise? Because a lot of people ask me, I know, you know, they think I know dogs. So what dog is good that you like and everything? And I know it's your bot. I know it's hard to be.
I mean, I lived in a small apartment in downtown Toronto with an Afghan hound.
Well, there you go.
But again, we had lots of exercise because we went to the park 2 or 3 times a day.
Right.
And he ran around, and I kind of chased him.
Oh, good luck.
But in terms of nowadays, you don't see many Afghan hounds in downtown Toronto.
Right.
You see a few. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Mastiff in downtown Toronto. So it depends on what the person wants to live with and their temperament. So these dogs, as you point out, their temperaments are solid, reliable. They would make a good companion, but they need space.
They need space, right? They need their own couch. That's for sure.
They need their own bedroom.
And you can't own a little bug Volkswagen when you have them.
Or one of those little cars, you know.
Yeah, the K cars, whatever they call them. I'm dating myself, a K car. But you know, I deal a lot in rescue, and I hear people, they give up their dogs, and the people say, well, he didn't fit into our car anymore. They get a Saint Bernard, and you're going, well, what did you think, you know?
I'm not sure what they're doing now.
You can see how they really vary in color too. The brindles and the fawn colors.
Yes, and the black masks. You'll see lots with black masks on their face.
And now that's for intimidation or to cut down the sun or?
Scary, yes.
Scary, yeah. Okay. I thought it was like the football players. They put the black. These dogs look like they'd be good mothers when they have their puppies. They look like they'd be very loving.
Yeah, I have no idea as to what kind of mothers they are.
Now, do you think big dogs have big litters, or is that a fallacy? Is that a
It depends on the genetics.
Oh, genetics determine that.
So for example, in my breed, the first litter of Borzoi I had 13 puppies. 13,
holy smokes.
Which is way too many for one female to look after.
For sure.
Kept me busy with the bottle.
Ooh.
But then over the years, and because of my breeding program, the litter size went way down.
Like, did you aim for that,
no,
or
I didn't
it just
aim for
happened?
That, but it happened. But I know why it happened, because what happened in my breed was a problem with thyroid.
Okay.
And the thyroid reduced the reproductive quality.
Well, there you go.
And so you need, because of the, people will say it's inbreeding and you get criticized for inbreeding, but it means managing the breeding in order to preserve the type.
Right.
And sometimes you get into difficulties. So when my litter size went down, then I went a search around the world for Borzois with the type that I wanted that had a clean thyroid gland.
Oh, I see.
And I found a kennel in Norway and brought a female from Norway to Canada, put into my line, and my problem was solved.
Isn't that something? See, there you know, that is a true science. You know genetics. When you breed dogs, I was at a party last night and they were talking about backyard breeders. Oh, my friend had a golden retriever down there, and it was hard for me to keep my mouth shut. Okay, it really, I
wouldn't be able to.
I didn't. I think the lady got mad at me. They were picking the golden retriever up in Quebec, a little puppy. And I said, oh, do they show the dog? I was trying to be nice. I really was. No, they had a friend down. And you just think, this is what it's not about. You know what I mean? And this is what happens. So you wanted a golden because she had a golden, and it would just go on. And then you hear a story like you're saying that it's a science. You got to know what you're doing.
You have to be responsible.
And they're not responsible.
That's right, and that's why there's a lot of issues around breeding of purebred dogs.
Right.
Because it's not the kennel clubs don't market it properly. The kennel club should be marketing how responsible breeders work.
Right.
And what they do. It's not
and
just
educate the public on what to look for if you're buying a dog from a breeder. Well, I saw the mother and father down the road, or it was clean. I go, oh yeah, And you know what? I'm afraid to tell you. You know what I think the deciding factor is for a lot of people on whether it's a reputable breeder? How much they're charging for the puppy. If they're paying $2,000, they think the breeder knows what it's doing. Or if it's $300, well, it's just a puppy mill dog, which isn't the truth.
The issue is understanding the breed that you're buying and doing some homework.
Absolutely.
And you can do a lot of homework, and there's a lot of information available.
Well, you go on the internet, you spend more time in how to buy a car than you do an animal that's going to be with you for 10 to 15 years. It's going to be part of your family. It's going to cost you a lot of money with vet bills. And this is what I think this Pet Expo is about. We're trying to educate people into it's part of responsibility.
Well, that's why it's so exciting, as far as I'm concerned, that the Pet Expo and this dog show are happening at the same time, because the Pet Expo draws in, I think they expect 20,000 people to come through the doors here.
Can't beat that.
And they can have a chance to look at purebred dogs and be informed by it. So it's not like, going to a bar and having a beer with somebody and then they become your spouse.
Right.
And then here you can watch and you can see.
And you can learn.
And
say, hey, why doesn't my cocker at home look like that Cocker Spaniel? Yes. Like, what happened? That's the same breed. And you go, yes, well, I paid $2,000 for mine. Yes, you did. But well, my friend bought this one down the street. And this is going, I try to get that tone out of my voice when I talk to them. I try to educate them. And I think but you know what? I really truly think it's turning around a bit. I think the more you talk to people and the more you educate people, I think the more informed they are and making the good decisions.
Because to buy a dog and to introduce a dog into your home is a huge responsibility.
Oh, it is.
In fact, in some breeds, the dog will last longer in your family than your child will.
There you go. There you go.
And that's huge responsibility, and that they need to be looked after every day. Most children, by the time they hit 9 or 10, they could survive without mom having to cook meals every day for them.
I thought you were going to say longer than your marriage. That's what I thought you were really going to say.
I'm not going there.
Or, you know what, the young couple, the yuppie couple, you know, that buy the dog before the kids. I did a whole thing, an interview with the transition of young people that buy dogs and then they have a kid. And the transition of how smart you have to be to incorporate the baby into the family. I will say not, you know, the dog doesn't have to, you have to incorporate the baby in the right way. And there's ways of doing it. And if people don't do it right, then the dog suffers. And it's the dog's problem, which it's really the owner's and the parents' problem.
You have to be a responsible owner. And I think that as breeders, we need to make sure that the person who's buying the puppy is responsible. So, for example, my original kennel was out in Campbellville, where the Mohawk racetrack is, in the 60s, okay? Every end of June, the 401 would be filled with dogs being dropped off.
Dropped off?
City.
Like dropped off where?
Into this
like
country.
Dumped?
Dumped. And so you'd have packs of dogs that would develop.
No.
It just made me nuts, and still makes me nuts, because you still see dogs that they were Christmas presents.
Ah, yes.
You know, but then now it comes to summertime, and it's summer hot, and the dogs get dumped.
Yep,
and
unbelievable.
You'd be a huge problem in those areas with dogs being dumped.
What kind of people do that? Do you often wonder?
Irresponsible.
You know, it's a reflection of your personality, how you take care of your animal. I think it's a reflection of how you're going to be as a parent, myself. You know what I mean? And you know what? You know what I find which really aggravates me is the people that have puppies before they have the kids, they always spoil them rotten. Well, you know what? To me, that isn't something to brag about. Because if you say you spoil them rotten, then when the baby comes along, the dog's going, wait, I'm not number one anymore, and that's when you have problems. So you like to say he's a very well-behaved dog, but don't brag that your dog is spoiled. I hear it all the time at our booth, right? And they say it with such pride. I'm going, uh-oh, here's trouble, you know, when they brag that it's spoiled. I mean, we all love our dog. I love my dog, but he's not spoiled. You know, and I love my kid, but he's not spoiled either. So, but
well, what kind of parent are you?
Well, this is it. I don't spoil him. Ask him. He's working today on a Sunday. He's working, and he's, you know, so. But I raised my kid the way I raised the dog. It's a reflection. And these people that dump these dogs, what kind of people are they?
Oh, it used to make me, it still makes me angry when I hear of that kind of irresponsible behavior.
It's painful, painful.
Also, for example, I feel strongly about being responsible with your dog. I can't stand dogs running loose on the streets. You know, because the next thing they're going to hit by a car. Next thing somebody's going to be frightened. Dogs should be on leashes.
Absolutely.
If they're going to run loose, they should be in a contained paddock.
That's right.
And in Toronto and in lots of cities, in the parks, they will have dog areas that are fenced in, and it's safe for the dogs to run and play with each other and all that kind of thing. But when you're on the street, these dogs should be on leashes.
Right.
And it's the point you're making is responsible ownership. We're now starting what's in the ring is the Mastiff specialty. So this is the judge who's judging the breed. And so he will work through, first of all, dogs. When I say dogs, I'm talking about males.
Oh, dogs or males?
The males.
The males.
So in this Canadian Kennel Club rules, male dogs are judged first. Okay. And they'll be in classes determined by age.
Okay.
Okay. And once again, I don't have the judging schedule, so the classes are 6 months to 9 months, 9 to 12. Sometimes at a specialty show, they can have a class for up to 18 months. They can have another class would be Canadian bred class. So that's dog that's bred in Canada. Another class could be bred by exhibitor.
Okay.
So the person who's showing the dog is the person who bred the
Oh,
dog.
I see. Yeah, the handler is the owner.
And the handler is the owner,
Okay.
the breeder.
The
And
breeder.
then the open dog, that means they're anything. They could come from Europe. They
Oh,
could be,
I see.
They don't fall into those other, or you can put a puppy in open if you want.
Oh, really?
So there's lots of, and then the judge will pick one in each of those classes.
Mm-hmm.
The winner of each of those classes will come back in the ring together. The judge will then decide who the best dog is.
And that could even be a puppy, because a puppy will be in there.
Puppy, and he will also then decide who's the reserve best dog.
Okay. The runner-up?
The runner-up.
Okay.
So then they get that out of the way. Then they'll do that same thing with the females.
Oh, okay.
And then at the end, there'll be what we call the specials class.
Mm-hmm.
And the specials class is made up of dogs that already have their championship.
Specialty. So that's really prestigious if you win that, because you're competing against champions.
Yes. And
Okay.
so then the winner's dog and winner's bitch will come in the ring to compete against the champions.
Oh, I see. Okay.
In some countries, they do not have a specials class.
Oh, that's too bad.
That they, well, in some ways, I like it better. That the champion dogs are, the ones that are already got their championship are in those classes
Already?
already.
Oh, I see. So you're
So-
testing if there really are champions, like, you know, there's a better dog always coming up. Now, you said
So
something.
now the ring stood just now. These are bred by exhibitor males. So these, the two dogs that coming in the ring, the people showing these dogs, bred these dogs.
Oh, I see. They really love the breed. Now, you had mentioned before about 18 months for these dogs, that sometimes they can be judged and they're still considered
Yes,
puppies.
sometimes they'll have a class for up to 18.
Well, I was going to ask you, maybe it's because like big dogs like this take a while to mature.
Oh, yes.
And so it takes, when they're almost 2 years old before they really bulk up and...
In England and in several countries, you cannot become a champion before you're 2 years of age.
Really?
No.
Oh.
In Canada, I've finished dogs when they're 6 months and 3 days old.
Holy smokes. Boy, you know
You
that
could
dog's good then. Holy.
Putting up puppies. But lots of countries, they don't allow you to have
Yeah, because a
child.
lot can change when they grow up. All of a sudden their jaw starts coming out or something, or their bite. I noticed with this breed they don't check the teeth as much as...
They should.
Oh.
They do. They'll be checking bites.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't, if I was a judge, I wouldn't want to put my hand around that mouth.
Well, you
That's
don't
so
have
slobbery.
to do it yourself. You ask them. I don't touch mouths.
No?
No, I have now what this judge is doing is having the exhibitor show the bite.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
And that's what I do, because, you know, you have enough dogs, you got hands in all.
Yeah, you could transmit something, right? Oh, I get
So
it,
when
yeah.
I'm judging, always have the exhibitor.
See, now if it was a layperson like me, I'd say, well, that judge just doesn't want to go through that slobbery mouth, but that makes sense. You can transmit things from dog to dog. Yeah, it makes sense. See, as you say, there's always a reason. If you ask the question, there's a reason for everything.
Now, the other thing that most judges do, you see, this judge went over the face first, then over the dog, now is down to the tail, reaching to the bottom, the curve of the legs, okay? Mm-hmm. And so that's his, he'll have exactly the same protocol for all of his dogs.
He has a routine so he doesn't miss
He has
anything.
a routine. So
Yep.
the exhibitors, if they're paying attention, they will know what his protocol is before they come in the ring.
I see, yeah, so they know where he's going
And
next.
so they know what he's going to be doing. And each judge, because the judge is in charge of his ring, or her ring, okay? And they're the boss.
They're the boss.
And they've
earned the right. Because how do you become a judge now? It's just you have...
Well, it varies country to country. In Canada, you have to be a breeder.
Oh, you do have to, yeah, of course, yes.
And you have to have bred so many champions.
Oh.
And then you have to apply to become a judge. You have to write written tests.
For different breeds, like can you
For each
special?
breed.
I'm only going to do hounds, or I'm only going to be a judge for
Well, you
herding.
can't judge for all, you can't apply for all the hounds. You can a limited number you can apply for to start off with,
Okay.
half a group, and then you also have to have done some trial judging experiences, like the person who was doing sweepstakes
Okay.
just now.
Yes.
He's not a judge,
Oh.
but he's applied to be a judge.
Oh, I
And
see.
so doing a sweepstakes, it will count towards his credentials to become a judge.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then once you're approved for whatever breeds you've applied for, then you have to do so many trial judges,
Trial
in
judge.
which you're observed,
Oh.
and then
So a
They'll
person
say-
like you, that if you have to judge the best in show, you have to know all those breeds. I just can't
no,
imagine it.
I don't.
Oh.
Well, I'm supposed to.
Oh.
But I don't have to be an all-breed judge to do best in
So there is such a thing as like a person that knows all breeds,
Well,
or
yes, in Canada, most judges are all-breed. I'm not all-breed. I refuse to be all-breed
oh,
because I don't think, it's a whole other story.
okay.
But in all countries, you can judge best in show if you can do maybe 3 groups.
Oh, okay.
And then they
Groups.
allow you-
They go by the groups. I see. Well, I'm sure it's a science to be a judge. It's like being a judge in the courts and all this. It's
Well, it means
you
having
gotta learn-
knowledge.
well, you have a lot riding on the line. I mean, these
Yeah.
people put a lot in. You want to be fair. You got to know what you're doing.
See,
It's
this
like
judge is just been judging individually, watching, now judging them move. So he moved the dog down and back, and now he's moving it around. So he had the opportunity to assess the way in which the dog moves coming and going, and then reach and drive as they go around the ring.
And people don't understand the way they move. That's important because if the dog's going to be moving, you don't want them to become lame and all this. This is a part of, it's all angular. Like if they're too down here, they're going to have hip problems, and they're going to be, you know, there's a lot that can, biologically, there's a lot that ride on the gait, right?
Yes. And see, I mean, all dogs have movement.
Right.
But the issue is, what were they bred to do?
Right,
So
okay.
they have to have the movement to do what they were bred to do.
So like terriers
So
and digging.
The Mastiff, it does not need to move the same way one of my Borzois does,
Right, okay.
because these are more solid guard dogs.
So you have to know the gait of those dogs for,
And as I said yesterday, no dog was bred to run on a concrete floor.
there you go.
And so I think it's very challenging to assess the movement on breeds.
Well, yes, of course.
And one of the problems, I say, try to use appreciative inquiry. One of the challenges
Okay.
of a judge is to be able to evaluate whether this movement is the correct movement for this breed of dogs.
Well, that's the thing about knowing the breed of what they're looking for.
And what's happened in the sport is that there's been a lot of what I call approval of generic movement.
Generic movement.
It's all the same.
Oh,
Reach and drive around the ring.
oh. Because they're all
Totally
going in that same circle.
and totally inappropriate. So then the next thing you see a change in the type of the dog because you want them to move in that generic way.
Oh, okay. They move good in the ring as opposed to in the field. I get it. Well,
And
makes
what
sense.
they were bred for. So there's a breed that I'm passionate about, and I won't identify it until it comes in the ring.
Okay.
But it has a very specific top line.
A Pacific what?
Specific top line.
Oh, top line.
Okay? And because of the top line, which it must have, it moves funny. It's got a funny gait. Because it doesn't move like a German Shepherd, people think there's something wrong with it. And so the breed has now changed to change the top line so it has a movement that looks like a German Shepherd.
Oh,
Totally incorrect.
okay. They're adjusting to what people want
So
as opposed to
in,
practicality.
the #1 dog in that breed in the United States, as far as I'm concerned, is totally incorrect. But it'll compete with German Shepherd because it can run around the ring like that.
Is it because of the perception? They're worried more about the perception of. So are you talking about German Shepherds or not? No.
Sorry?
Are you talking about German Shepherds or not?
No, I'm not talking.
No, it's just.
No, I'm talking about.
Well, don't get me. I think German Shepherds look like they're in pain when they walk. I know that's wrong for me to say, but I just don't get it. I know that might be a political thing, but I just don't get it.
Well, because they changed them for what the original breed was called Alsatians.
Right, Alsatians.
Very different than what we see now.
Oh, I guess. Well, don't go down that path. But as I said, there's certain breeds that don't change throughout the years, hundreds of years, and there's some breeds that they've just totally modified. But they're modifying them not for what they originally were to do, but just sort of what you said. What's appealing? What would it be more to the appealing to the buyer?
Well, you see, you're raising the most important question.
I didn't even know that. See, we don't.
Yeah, you didn't know
so
that.
let's make sure people know. We don't talk about this before. Pardon me?
What is the purpose of a dog show?
To perfect a breed in the sense of what dog represents the breed the best.
Purpose of a dog show is to review breeding stock.
Breeding stock, right.
So they're evaluating the quality of the breeding stock for mastiffs in this ring. 90% of the people came to this show not for that. They came to win.
But the winning doesn't the winning then also mean that their stock goes up in the dog for the puppies? So
that's where it gets tricky.
That's where it's tricky. I know, we're careful about down that path.
Then you get now into the politics.
Right, right.
Now there are some dogs that, top winning dogs, poor examples of the breed. But boy, they show dogs. I mean, it's like. And
they get a lot of money for those puppies.
So it's a dilemma in the sport. But the original purpose of dog shows was to be able to evaluate breeding stock, so you could go and see what's available, and then you sort out what your breeding program is.
But this, you know, Dick, this is the thing about this dog show, and why Grant has combined it with, 20,000 people coming through the doors, is that people with kids, they can come to these dog shows, walk around the dog show people, and see, gee, I like that dog, or maybe I don't like this drooling. The wife says, I don't want that drooling. So the people that are going to buy these puppies, that are doing their research, which is what they should be doing, saying, oh, I like that dog. They can interact and see what they like and what they don't like. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like that dog. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And this is why it's so important for the people to be able to see these dogs, hear us talk about, me asking the inane questions that maybe people want to ask.
So this judge, you see, is evaluating these 3 dogs, not against each other, but against the standard.
Right. What represents the breed the best?
Which one represents, which is closest to, in this ring, which one is closest to the standard for the Mastiffs. And so that's why he's been checking faces, checking the shape of the face, the mouth, the bones, the layback of shoulder, the top line, the movement, how they're moving down, coming back around the ring, how they carry their tail.
Right.
That's all that's all described in the standard. But the standard is merely a blueprint of the breed.
Okay.
And so standards for me are like pieces of music. The notes are important, but the spaces are also important.
Oh, okay.
And so
because there's a lot of room to.
There's a lot of room.
Right.
And how do you fill in the spaces?
Right.
So you can have a piece of music played differently, but it's still got the same notes.
Right.
But then the interpretation, and that's part of the excitement and challenge of breeding purebred dogs, creating your own style or type.
Okay, but you just use that word interpretation. So in the standard, can it be interpreted in different ways? Do judges interpret it in different ways?
Yes, they do.
So there is interpretation involved.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then the issue is, that's why there's all different judges. That's why they can have, like they've had 3 dog shows here. The dogs have been judged 3 times by 3 different judges. We saw yesterday Great Danes being judged twice.
Right.
Different winners.
Okay. So can some judges, like, I think gait's important, or some judges say, I think the head's more important, or the bite's more important. So you get this variation, so that's why it's not always the same dog winning.
That's correct.
Oh, I see. So I always wondered that, saying, well, if it's the same standard, why is it variance? So say judges are human, and they have different value systems probably. So it's the interpretation.
And in the standard, though, there are expectations as to what is important and what isn't important.
Oh, really? They have degrees of importance.
So, once again, I don't have the standard for masters in front of me, but there will be points that disqualify the dog.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so that then the dog, no matter what,
No matter what, he's out.
it's gone.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you see when you read them, disqualifications, right? Sure, if these guys had a blue eyes, that would be.
Could be, absolutely.
Yep. No-go, a no-go.
Now you see the 3 dogs in this ring, there's no question that they're the same breed.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
But you can have a class and you think, what?
yeah.
These 3 clearly are the same breed.
They're the same breed, but you can see the
from
difference, though.
here. Sorry?
They're the same breed, but even I can see they vary this and
That's
that, right?
That's right. So there is variation between the 3 of them.
Right.
The judge is going to determine which one he thinks is closest to the standard.
Right. So there's
They'll place-
obvious reasons. There are
He'll
obvious.
place it 1, 2, 3.
Right. And you see a person like me going, okay, I can see the difference in them. Is that an important difference? Like the amount of wrinkles in their face. Like, is that something you judge a Mastiff? Really? How many wrinkles it has?
Well, it's the way in which the expression that it will be
Oh, the
produced.
wrinkles reflect the expression of their stature. Okay.
So depending on the breed, some breeds, the wrinkles and expression are really important.
Okay.
Another breed is non-issue.
Okay, I see. See, one of my things would be the width of their nostrils so they can breathe. I am so tired of looking at these dogs with pinched nostrils that can't breathe. I feel bad for them. And why don't get me going on that, but
you
I
see,
just.
that's a breeder's responsibility, of which if that's an issue in their breeding program, they need to be addressing it.
Right.
Just like I did with the reproduction thing. I
Right.
went looking for the gene pool that would improve my reproduction.
Right. Sometimes, okay, this might be a political. Sometimes I think the lover of a certain breed miss some of the negativity that's happening with the breed.
Yes.
You know, like a person like me coming in and going, well, that dog just can't breathe. That's the problem. And they love that dog so much that these people can't see that maybe the dog can't really run a lot because it can't breathe.
And so that's the breeder's response. You see, some people should never be breeders.
Right. Oh, yeah, we know that.
They love the breed, that they should never be breeders.
Right.
Because they can't be what I call I was a ruthless breeder.
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
As in, that's a good thing or a bad
I would not
thing?
tolerate certain faults no matter what. I
Okay.
could have the greatest dog in the world,
Right.
that I would have won lots of besties, but if it had certain features,
Well, I think that's a
would
harsh
not-
word,
I
ruthless.
would not allow it to be
Scruples? Would scruples be a better word than ruthless?
Sorry?
Scruples?
used. Scrupulous. When I was scrupulously ruthless.
I love making up words. That's my thing. I love making up words.
So here we have another class of Mastiffs. 3 again. And the judge is moving them one at a time around the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting an idea of what they do with what they've got before he examines them.
Oh, right, okay. So this walking around is always before It's always
For
before.
this judge.
Okay, for this
Many
judge.
judges don't do that.
Sure.
They
Okay.
immediately go and do the examination. But this judge wants to see them move before he examines them.
Okay.
No, he's making his decision. So what he was doing here, this is his winner's dog.
Oh, winner's dog.
So
Okay.
these were first, see, we missed because we were talking.
Okay.
These were the winners of the classes.
Okay.
So there were 3 dogs from 3 classes. He was picking his winner's dog. So this dog now has won points towards his championship.
And that's the goal.
And then this dog that's just come in the ring was second to this dog in that class.
Okay.
So now this judge is going to evaluate this second place dog with those 2 in the ring as to whether this will be who will be the reserve
I
winner,
see.
the
I get it.
runner-up.
Yeah, those 2 still have a chance for being.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. It's very dynamic. And this is great having you up here because the average person that's walking in the booths out there, they can't it's far beyond the dynamics of all this that goes on.
So this dog now, because even though it was second in its class, is competing with these 2 first class winners from their classes.
And this is all, who keeps all this track is the steward that helps the judge.
Yes.
That's the person over by the
Stewart
table.
keeps track of all of this.
All this, because it's very complicated. She gets the dogs ready. Who's up next?
So the puppy dog went reserve winner's dog
Yeah, that looks like a younger dog, right? Yeah.
from the puppy class.
It's a puppy, which is that's great when I would think a puppy goes up against the older dogs and he wins. Yeah. Oh, look at this guy.
When I was judging, I frequently put puppies all the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah. The potential is there. Now, this is a younger dog.
In some countries, I couldn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I figure at least puppies have got potential.
Potential. That's one of my favorite. Potential. That gives the breeder and all that hope, right? Oh, wow. Keep it going. You're doing a good job.
So now he's starting to judge the females that are not champions.
Is this an adult?
This looks like a puppy.
Pardon me?
This looks like a puppy.
Oh, a puppy, yeah. Okay.
So the classes for non-champions are the same in bitches as they were in dogs. Puppies, Canadian bred by exhibitor, open,
Oh, yeah.
all those.
And this is because it's a specialty show.
No, that's enough.
In regular, okay.
Yes.
Because when you do a specialty show, is there a more variation of the classes because they want to
Yes.
really refine, and this is the big deal when you do a specialty show. They make it worth their while, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because you can see that beautiful winners table over there. They've really made an effort. Like they're proud. Yeah.
See, some specialty shows, well, we saw yesterday there, the large entry of Great Danes.
Oh yes, yes.
Now the average national specialty in the United States for my breed, Borzois, average entry is 300 to 400 Borzois.
So they have a show. Yeah, it's a show special. Yeah, like this. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Holy.
they'll have that once a year. All breeds, that's not true. Most breeds have what they call a breed club.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and those breed clubs usually have a national specialty in each country.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't know which club it is that's putting on this specialty, but it might be the Mastiff Club of Canada.
Oh, I
It
see.
might be the Mastiff Club of Ontario. I don't know.
Oh, it's the club. It's not the CKC branch or.
Well, it's part of the CKC. The CKC approves clubs.
Oh, they approve. Okay, you just
So
can't start up a
The
club.
Canadian Kennel Club approved the Oakville Kennel Club,
Right.
And the Oakville Kennel Club is an all-breed club representing purebred dogs in the Oakville community. The Canadian Kennel Club also approves breed clubs specifically. So this specialty is not the Oakville Kennel Club. This is the Mastiff Club.
So that's interesting. So the clubs that the CKC register can either be an all-breed club or a specialty club. So, and they can have, like, an event today can be a combination of the two.
That's true.
Because like Grant, Pet Expo is sort of hosting the Oakville branch, that's the all breed, and then the specialty club is doing this thing. I see.
That's correct, you see, and what clubs like Oakville like, the more specialties they bring, the more entries they bring to their club.
Oh, I see. Because, of course, all these Mastiffs, since they're here, will go to the real, I almost said real show, all breed show, because they're here, they might as well enter, right?
And you see, and as a result, it makes them eligible for 2 sets of points towards their
Because it increases the competition. So, an all breed, the more they bring the attraction of the specialty clubs, it's more prestigious because they're going to have an increased entry to there, which means the competition's better, and the breeders, let's face it, they like to compete against each other.
Well, yes, but also it's cheaper to come to one show and get 2 sets of points.
Absolutely, yes, economics, right? And it's we've been here, well, I think there was a 3-day event, so it's really worth their while, right? Yeah, that's good. So, like, I'm a little confused with the CKC, how many different all-breed shows are, no, in this weekend? Is it all the same?
There's a limit. The Canadian Kennel Club limits how close the show can be to each other.
Okay.
And so I've forgotten what it is. I think it's 400 kilometers or something.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Right.
So I don't think there's another show. Well, there's certainly not another show in this part of Ontario.
Oh, okay.
But there could be one in northern Ontario. Not likely.
Okay.
But there could be one in Quebec.
Right.
There could be a show in Nova Scotia. For sure there'll be a show out west in Manitoba or British Columbia.
For sure, yeah. Okay. Huh.
But the CKC do limit the distance and time between shows.
Well, that's fair because, you know, you can't dilute the market, right? I could see that. Now, when they have a branch of a CKC, is it a nonprofit, or can they make money on it, or they give back with their entries and the dog shows? Like, is there anything, like, what's the mindset of something like that?
Well, for a long time, the mindset was just survival.
Survival, yeah. Well, that's just true, right?
Because they're the registry body and they're responsible for the activities.
Okay.
Once upon a time, the Canadian Kennel Club was not the registry body for purebred dogs. The federal government was the registry body for
the government. Oh boy.
And so, and I forget when it was, but I think it was in the late 50s, early 60s, that the federal government transferred the responsibility of registering purebred dogs to the Canadian Kennel Club.
Oh wow.
But before that, the Canadian Kennel Club was only responsible for dog shows and dog activities.
Oh, I see. Oh, so there was a CKC,
oh, yes,
even when the government was registering all these
yes.
dogs. There was still a CKC there.
The CKC was established in 1888.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Okay, and and it was started in London, Ontario.
Really?
In a pub.
More things get started in a bar, don't they?
Absolutely.
All the a lot of great ideas get started in bars.
People were sitting around a table.
Talking,
and they decided to make the Canadian Kennel Club.
All right, sounds good to me.
Yep.
A lot of good stories.
And
Bars.
the American Kennel Club had been started a few decades before, and so the American Kennel Club helped start the Canadian Kennel Club by giving them the support to run the shows in Canada.
Oh, I see.
And then they handed it over to the CKC.
I said, you better do a good job, because we're still the Grand Poopas here, so don't mess it up.
We're the only country that I know of in which the Kennel Club is actually an arm of the federal government.
Well, I don't know. That could be
I
a
think
good
it's
thing.
a plus.
Could be
I
a
think
bad
it's
thing.
A plus.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. But
So when
for
you're
America,
saying in England that
sorry?
you're saying in England the government doesn't have anything to do with they just say, you know what, you guys handle
the
it.
Kennel Club is the Kennel Club.
The Kennel Club, that's right. I can only imagine.
I got into trouble with them once
Oh.
at a meeting, and I said they behaved so badly they had lost the right to be called the Kennel Club. They had to be called the British Kennel Club. They sent a letter of reprimand to me.
A letter of reprimand.
Demanded an apology, which I refused to do.
Do any of your dogs ever get registered through there?
No, I've never. I've bought dogs from there. I've never sent dogs back. The American Kennel Club is one of 4 clubs in the United States.
So there's only one club in the United Kingdom. There's one club in Canada.
One club in Canada.
CKC, and the Americans have four different clubs.
In a lot of countries, there's more than one club.
Oh.
And then the gentleman who's judging in front of us now is from from what we call an FCI country, Fédération Cynologique Internationale. And it's licensed out of Belgium.
Oh.
And they control the kennels in all of Europe and South America and in...
They control the kennels or
yes,
the
they
clubs?
They run the kennels, the kennel clubs.
The kennel clubs.
Of those countries.
Wow, that's a lot.
And they have it's their standards, their rules.
Now that has a lot of clout, I imagine. That carries a lot of clout. Don't want to mess with them. Now, you see, if you got in trouble with them, would you be reprimanded?
The CKC did get in trouble with them a few years ago. And they banned Canadian judges going to any of their shows. And
Still?
No, not anymore. They lifted the ban.
Should I ask what got them angry at Canadians? Because we're such an easygoing country. Like, what could we possibly do? Or should I ask? It's debatable.
I'm not sure that I wasn't on the board at the time,
Okay.
so I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Oh dear.
So it would be gossip, and I'm not going to.
Okay, it's going to be gossip. We said that we had a better hockey teams than they did, and they said, I don't think so. Or they said that, I said, we really didn't invent the Newfoundland dog. Well, that's really interesting. So, like, if they have 4 different kennel clubs in the United States, can the breeds go in between the 3? That's a lot of dog shows.
Well, it depends on what the rules are of the different clubs.
Oh.
But the one that's officially recognized internationally is the American Kennel Club, which is recognized by the Fédération Cynologique Internationale, which is recognized by the Canadian Kennel Club, recognized by the Kennel Club.
So, like the Westminster Dog Show.
That's a private club, like the Oakville Kennel Club.
Westminster Dog Show.
Westminster Dog Show is Westminster Kennel Club is like the Oakville Kennel.
So they developed their own prestigious. They made it such a big deal that, to me, that's the ultimate dog show, right? That's the one you see on TV. On TV. Hey, when it makes TSN, it's big time, right? And I tape it and I watch it. Don't anyone tell me who won, you know. Then Dad goes on Coach's Corner and says who's won, and I had it taped.
Well, the Westminster Kennel Club is the second oldest approved sporting event in America.
Really?
The
Kentucky Derby?
Kentucky Derby is
I didn't
the
know.
oldest.
See, I guessed that.
Yeah, the Kentucky Derby is the oldest, and the Westminster Kennel Club is the second.
Isn't that something?
And it's been going consistently for 140 years.
Isn't that what? Now, what's England's Crufts? Is it?
Crufts
is the Westminster Dog Show of England.
Crufts is the big dog show of the kennel. It's put on by the Kennel Club.
The Kennel Club.
You see, many kennel clubs, many national kennel clubs don't put on dog shows. So Canadian Kennel Club, every now and then it thinks it's going to put on a show. Don't get me started on that.
Oh.
But they get, like this show is put on by the Oakville.
Right, yeah.
In the United States, the American Kennel Club puts on a show once a year in Orlando.
Oh, well, that must be pretty prestigious show then, right?
Well, yes, it's in competition with Westminster.
Yeah, that's what they're trying for.
In England, the Kennel Club puts on Crufts.
Right.
Okay. So, but in Canada, we don't have an official Canadian Kennel Club show.
Boy, you think that would be a big moneymaker if they did that, because everyone would, you would think if they did, it would be a big moneymaker, but the prestige.
You gotta get it's the prestige.
The prestige, but don't you think everyone would want to be if you had the best in show?
They've tried, they've never pulled it off in Canada, really effectively.
But if
now,
you had
there are people who will be listening right now who would totally disagree with what I just said.
But the thing is, if you got the best in show of a dog that won the Canadian Kennel Club dog show, that would really be a prestige thing, which means there would be a lot of entries, because if you make it prestigious, that would bring in entries.
Part of the challenge in Canada is the country's so big.
Well, this is true. It'd cost a lot.
So travel.
Yeah, I could see that.
And another issue would be, where is the show going to be
held? That's the West would get mad if it's in Toronto. The West would get Vancouver would be very upset. It's like the Memorial Cup in the CHL. Where is it going to be? You have to have an equal amount in Quebec, and you've got to make sure you cover the Maritimes and the whole deal.
Now we have a large class of females.
Yeah, female. Yeah.
In the Mastiff class.
Now, if you, with your expert eye, without looking at the essentials, would you know just by looking at them that they're the females and not the males?
Yeah, I should.
Yeah, just because of their stature or whatever you want to call it?
Yep.
Not that they're more petite, because not that they're more petite, because you wouldn't want to use that word with Mastiffs, but...
I think that there is a clear definition of masculinity, femininity.
I still think so, within the breeds.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. It would all...
Now, you see, just because we were busy talking, I didn't watch them come in the ring, but just seeing those three move, they clearly look very different than the males that were in the ring.
Yeah, the males clunk along. Okay, that might not be a good word.
Different style, different shape.
They seem to be a little they seem to be a little smoother, like when they.
Well, you see, maybe we'll find out that the quality is better in females than it was in males.
Could be. With my eyes of just, they seem to be smoother or something, which I don't know is a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, but you'll pay attention to what the judge is doing, and the judge, when he's made his decisions. Right, not the last decision, but one of the last decisions he'll make in this judging will be
a male against a female.
Right.
And what he prefers more. Which he prefers more.
Yes.
In the gait and that's interesting.
So your observation and your opinion will be checked out.
Right. And that's why the judges vary. It's their opinion. Would you say a judge? It's an opinion. It's an opinion. It's an opinion.
And it's an opinion based on their knowledge of the breed,
right,
and their understanding of the meaning of the standard.
Their interpretation.
That's right.
Right.
And the purpose is to find the best breeding stock in the ring. Now, years and years ago, that means 30, maybe 40, I went to a show in the United States, and there was a Mastiff specialty.
Oh.
And there were 90 Mastiffs.
90? You were observing, you weren't judging.
I was just, because in those days I was a breeder and an exhibitor, and I wasn't a judge.
Yeah.
And I thought, what an opportunity.
To compare. Yeah.
So I sat at ringside and I watched the judge.
Yeah.
Judged 90 Mastiffs.
Oh, 90.
And he refused to hand out a best of breed ribbon.
What? He refused because he couldn't make up his mind, or they were all equal?
He felt that there were not anyone who was worthy of being a best of breed.
Oh, Wouldn't
The place went nuts.
I can imagine.
Yes.
Man,
I
that
remember
took
who
guts.
the judge was. He's dead now. Maybe somebody killed him.
Oh, yeah. They pay all that money. But that's what you're saying is I would have thought they were competition against each other, but that's what your point of saying it's not against each other. So that's a perfect example of saying,
Yes.
no, none of them cut the mustard, right?
Yep.
And they just, can you imagine if you spent the money? Like, it's like me getting a bathing suit. You say, okay, I hate them all. Which do I hate the least is the one I'll buy, right? But do you think that, so that would be like judging those dogs. But he said, Zippo. That is amazing. And you sat there the whole time too, 90.
Well, because I sat and I learned a lot from that by watching, and it takes a lot of, whether it was right or not, I don't know the answer to that. But I learned a lot by watching and looking, and I knew, because I was asking like some of the questions, like, why are they there? What's that all about? And so when he stood in the center of the ring and said, "Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen, but today there will not be a best of breed ring."
I can see if there was 4 or 5, but you can't make up your mind with 90? Wow. All I keep thinking is the money.
Well, he made up his mind. He did make up his mind.
He didn't make up.
He did make up.
He did make. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. He made up his mind. All right. Yeah.
Because he said there was not the quality of.
None of them were worthy. None of them were worthy.
Best of breed.
Unbelievable. And they paid all that money. Imagine if you had drove there and had a hotel and all that money, and then nobody gets it. Oh.
It certainly was a great learning curve in the history of the Mastiff Club of America.
Boy, we know there's a lot of gossip out there. Can you imagine the tongues wagging on that one? Holy smokes.
Now, when we talk about Mastiffs, there are other kinds of Mastiffs besides this Mastiff. This is the English Mastiff.
Oh, it's English. I didn't know that. Okay.
There's the Spanish Mastiff, and the Spanish Mastiff looks quite different. There's the Tibetan Mastiff.
Neapolitan?
Neapolitan.
That was the one that was in the movie, right? Turner and Hooch?
Right.
Okay, it was a Neapolitan Mastiff.
Right.
Oh.
And so those Mastiffs were created, what we've talked about, to meet the needs of those countries.
Those countries, okay.
And the Tibetan Mastiff is probably, well, I think they're wonderful. I'd love to own a Tibetan Mastiff, but I'm too old. Because I couldn't manage it. It would manage me.
Oh, my goodness.
But they used to be, when the original standard for the Tibetan Mastiff, because I've done a lot of homework on them, so was 38 inches of shoulders.
Over 3 feet tall. Wow.
At the shoulders.
Holy.
And with a lot of hair.
With hair?
Yes, because they lived in Tibet.
Right, yeah, it's cold, yeah.
The Spanish Mastiff is bigger than this Mastiff, okay? And it's a different shape.
So do they ever have, what I would think would be a cool show, is have all the different Mastiffs?
That would be wonderful.
Wouldn't that be cool to see? And then they compete against each other for the best in show for all the Mastiffs of all the different kind of Mastiffs. Does that ever happen?
Well, no, because
they can't get along.
The Spanish Mastiff is not recognized in North America.
Oh, there you go.
Tibetan Mastiff, even though it's been around as long,
right,
was only just recognized. We recognized it in Canada before it was recognized in by the American Kennel Club.
Oh, I see.
They've only been recognized for 4 or 5 years.
So I better wait till she's... Who's more flexible in accepting new breeds, Canadian Kennel Club or the American Kennel Club?
American.
They're more acceptable.
Yes, because they don't have the federal government.
Oh,
rules.
Yes. Okay. They walk their own walk, yeah.
The Canadian Kennel Club is controlled by the Livestock Pedigree Act.
Okay. Yeah, they atone to the government.
Criteria for the entry of livestock into Canada.
So if I had to take a guess, how about the governing body of the United Kingdom? Are they pretty flexible? They'd probably not flexible.
I don't know what their protocol is.
I'm sure they're tough though. Yeah. Being English, I'm sure they're less flexible than the Americans.
Well, one of the things that controlled the Kennel Club up until very recently was the rules around rabies.
Oh,
See,
yes.
England had no rabies.
Yes, the import, yeah.
So to get a dog into England was very, very difficult.
I thought you were going to say the Queen, but you meant the rabies.
Rabies, yeah.
Okay.
And so it was same with Australia. And so
Oh,
Australia, because it's rabbit free. Now, England has lifted that, so you can go direct. I could fly.
But you still have to put them in quarantine, though, don't you?
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore? I remember Elizabeth Taylor wanted to take her Yorkies.
She had them on the boat in the Thames.
She had the boat, and then she kept them on the boat, and the whole deal. I remember that. And then Johnny Depp got in trouble with the Yorkies down in Australia. See, I read People magazines. That's why I'm up on all this stuff.
Well, I sold a dog to Australia. In order to get it there, I had to put it in quarantine in England.
Holy.
It went in quarantine in England for, I think, 3 to 4 months. And then from England, it was flown to an outer island off the coast of Australia and went into quarantine there for 6 months.
Isn't that
It
something?
took a year to get it into Australia.
Isn't that amazing?
That's all changed now. That was a long
It's all
time ago.
changed. Because you think because of the vaccinations, you know, because...
I think, yes.
Yeah, yeah. But in the old days, when they said, you know what, that's it, we're not risking it, which, you know, good for them.
Yep.
They should do that about a lot of imports on things, you know what I mean? Be a little bit
I
stricter.
agree.
Won't go down that path, will we?
So the judge is now examining his last exhibit in this class. He just moved her down and back. Now moving her around. And now he'll sort out 1, 2, 3, 4.
I always say, you have a powerful looking dog, you got a powerful looking tail. You can all, it's all, there was a gentleman over here that was sitting beside one of these dogs, and the dog was wagging his tail and it was hitting his leg. I go, that's gotta hurt. He goes, it does hurt, but I'm used to it.
And in some breeds, they're very clear about what the tail should be like. So, for example, the Canadian indigenous breed Labrador Retriever, it has to have a thick, what they call otter tail, so they can pull it out of the water into the boat.
It's pull it out. I thought it was so that the dog could steer the way it was going.
And
in swimming, it moves its tail like a
also
rudder.
If you had to grab onto it, it's not going to snap off in your hand.
So it's not used as a rudder? But it's, see, that's what I thought. Just pull it out.
And one of the reasons the terriers have their tails docked,
Right.
is because if they go down the hole and they get stuck, you want to pull them
Yeah.
out. And if the tail's too long, it'll snap in your hand. So that's what,
Or too short if they don't
Okay.
dock it, and then there's nothing to hold on
Right.
to. Well, that's interesting.
now the judge has made some placements. It looks as though he's decided which is first, second, third, and fourth. But he hasn't totally pointed his finger yet. And it's not over until the finger's being pointed.
Is that it? Because half the time I miss which dog win because I missed the sign. Did he win? What dog is it? Oh,
So now it looks as though he's going down, making his last decision on the expression of the dog. The face, he's looking at the expression of the face, which in the Mastiffs is very important.
because it's a guard dog, the expression's important because it has to do its job in staring
Be scary.
people down. Right. If it had to look like a Cocker Spaniel, that wouldn't be a good sign.
So he's made his decision. He's got first, second, third, and fourth.
You know, as you judges, for the common person, when you pick the winner, you're so discreet in who wins, like in the point. Like it's almost like they don't want to make a big, okay, you win you. It's not like Oprah giving away her stuff. I can barely see who he picked. What was it? Huh, what? Huh? What happened? You know?
See, but if you were watching him, he did a protocol. He sorted them all out.
Yeah, but they change them sometimes. Is this it?
Sometimes they change
Is
them
this
in the
it?
last minute.
Is this the order? I'm always asking. Is this the one?
So now don't know what class this is.
Well, this group really varies.
Yes, I don't know what class it is. It might be winners. My guess is that it's winners, but that means that these won their classes.
Won their classes, and now you're figuring out.
Because this looked like a puppy.
Yeah, that one guy looks young.
That certainly looks like a mature dog. So it should be open bitch, bred by exhibitor, Canadian bred puppy. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because they all vary, that's for sure.
You see, and you can see the way they're behaving, that these dogs have more experience than this dog.
Yeah.
Or these handlers have more experience than this handler.
Well, for the puppies, it's got to be intimidating, right? This is why you're saying you must have to show.
Puppy.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think this is all very intimidating. Being touched and
maybe in this
pulled.
breed, but it depends on their experience. Like I have puppies that I've been taking out since they were 3 months of age, and
Yeah.
they'll sort of stomp around.
Attitude. Yeah. Well, this is what I tell people when any puppy, any dog, any breed, you got to socialize the dog. This I was saying, you can't think, oh, you love it to death and it's just your dog. And then if it growls at other people, you think that's cool that he's protecting you. Well, no, because you got to have a dog that's socially acceptable, because that's very important.
See, in this day and age, that's very important.
It is, and people underestimate it.
As we said earlier, the original purpose of this breed is no longer in practice.
Absolutely.
So you're representing that past, but it has to be socially acceptable.
It does, or these are the dogs that get you in trouble. But people think, they think if the dog yaps at other people and they think it's funny and it's cute. And I go, well, it's not really that cute to do that.
In my breed, when I first got started in my breed in the 60s, there used to be a saying that if you think that a borzoi is going to attack you, it is already too late.
Oh. But they don't seem like an aggressive dog. Yeah.
Ruthless about aggression in borzoi.
Yeah.
I don't care how great the dog was, if it was aggressive, it was put to sleep.
Yeah. We can't. It's socially unacceptable.
I would not tolerate aggression go through the dog.
But is aggression inbred in the dog, or can you curb it? No, being aggressive isn't acceptable.
I don't think it's ever acceptable in this day and age for any dog to be aggressive with human beings. But
can't the human train the dog not to be aggressive?
You can.
How do you learn? How do you teach a dog?
Because it's like with children.
Right.
As I said, some of the stuff goes down the leash.
Right. That's right. That's true.
Because you'll see, in fact, I think we witnessed it here, that one of these dogs was shown by another person in the ring, in the class, and it behaved beautifully when that person was shown.
Oh.
And then, in this class, the person changed the dog that they were bringing into the breed.
Oh.
And so the dog that behaved perfectly with them was misbehaving with the person who brought it in because the dog knew it was somebody else on the end of the leash.
Oh, there you go. So handling is a big, that's why they make their money.
Well, so these are all owner handlers.
Yeah, but the handlers, you say, they make a living out of it, right?
So for example, I'm a good example. I showed all my own dogs. I was top owner handler, blah, blah, blah. I can't do it now because of health issues and age. I can't show my dogs properly, so I have to use a handler. Because I would muck up the dog for that. I would be showing.
But why do people like that are youthful and they love the breed? They still don't show their breed because they think a handler can show off the dog better, right?
Now you're into the politics and what people think and competency and winning as opposed to the issue being breed quality. It opens up all
It's
of
a
that
science,
door.
just like anything.
Yes.
Yeah. They sure are a powerful looking dog. You look at them, you wouldn't want to.
See, and that's the right word because that's what they're supposed to
They
be powerful.
just look like a tank, man. They're just, you don't want to mess with them. Yet I'd pet one of those before I pet half of the Yorkies running around here that are, holy smokes, to take your hand off. But it's amazing, you come to the pet expo here, you see everyone walking around with their dogs. There's no dog fights, no nothing. You know, these people that bring their dogs to the Canadian Pet Expo,
very rare.
they're socialized well.
The dogs are more sociable than the people.
Well, this is it.
I've seen several fights between human beings this weekend already, but not between the dogs.
Yes, I think I've been there. I was looking at the trophies that this specialty group has been giving out, and they were explained to me that each specialty group has their own unique type of trophy, and these are beautiful trophies they're giving out here. And you know, there was a thought process, not just a regular old trophy. It's that you would like to put that one up on your mantle, and it distinguishes it too. You go, oh yeah, you were at that dog show. You know, really, really nice. Really love them.
See, and the rosettes are all very specific.
Different colors for.
Well, yeah, the colors are mandated by the Kennel Club.
Oh, the colors do mean something.
Well, a red, white, and blue ribbon is the best in showroom.
Oh yeah, okay.
A blue ribbon is a group first ribbon.
Oh.
A red ribbon is second place. A yellow ribbon is third place. A white ribbon is fourth place.
Oh, and it's consistent throughout all the dog shows.
So all these classes that you saw we've had,
right?
First, second, third, and fourth, blue, red, yellow, white.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going through the dog exhibitors, and someone said, "Here's your," some woman said, "Oh, you goes, I keep it." I go, "Oh," and it was a white one, and I could tell he didn't want the ribbon. And I was going, "Oh, white mustn't be good." I said to myself, walking through, "Keep it." Oh. They even give the dogs little prizes. You see the little tug things they give over there? Like, it's nice that they give the dogs something, too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice. Dogs should be rewarded, too.
When you first start showing dogs, you keep every ribbon.
Oh.
And I used to keep every ribbon and put it in a book. Give me after about 6 months if you got. What are
Hey,
do with
you have
all
a
these?
kid in hockey like me. I kept every little friggin' trophy, right? So a couple years ago, guess what happened? I call them up. You want these things? No, I throw them all out. And it's like, at the time, it was really prestigious to have all these little. And then the only ones I threw out was the trophies for participation. All right, I didn't keep those. Anyway, everyone got one then that lost its prestige. I threw those out, but.
When I was 40 years ago, when I was campaigning with my dog, I had all my best in show ribbons framed.
Well, there you go. Like best in show is something.
Here comes the boss.
Oh, did we say something? Oh.
Bringing vodka martinis. No, it's not a vodka martini.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you today, sir?
He's live. He can't see. We're got a live mic. So, Grant, this is the owner. How are things going? No, you're on the mic, and we're interviewing Grant Crossman, the owner of Pet Expo. How are you doing today, and how's the show?
It's been lots of fun, lots of new pets, lots of new families walking around, and kids really learning lots, so it's been fun.
And that's the goal here at Canadian Pet Expo, is to educate the families, and we're doing our best here to tell everyone the finer points of a dog show. Lots to learn.
And everyone's enjoying the two of you up here, so please enjoy the day and continue on.
Our bantering, you like that? Okay.
So now your specials. So the dogs that are coming in the ring now are dogs that have their Canadian championship.
This is what a specialty show is all about.
Well,
These are the heavy hitters coming in that are
it's
already...
having the numbers, you know, and it's honoring the breed. So this is why they have so many dogs. You don't very rarely see this many mastiffs.
Yeah, that's yeah. And that's the great thing about these specialty shows. Like last year it was Rhodesian Ridgebacks. When you go to a regular all-breed dog show, you don't see a lot of Rhodesian Ridgebacks. Right. So when you see a breed like that, it's pretty cool, and you get to compare them. A common eye like mine, you can, oh yeah, they really do look different. You know, in the different variances.
Absolutely. So now the Canadian champions are being brought into the ring, and then the last two dogs that will be brought in were the dog that was a winner's dog,
winner's dog,
class dogs, and winner's bitch. It could be that the winner's dog or the winner's bitch is actually an American champion.
Oh, okay. So it could still qualify.
You can have in the classes dogs that are champions in other countries, but these have to be Canadian champions that are coming in now.
Oh, I see.
But you could have had in the classes, there could have been
an American.
Yes.
And it would qualify to be in this.
Yes. So
look at them all.
So here we have. This was winner's bitch.
Right.
That was winner's dog. And the one that just moved in front of the purple, that was a veteran dog.
I was going to say, he looks older, yeah. That's nice that they recognize the veteran dogs. I think that's great.
And so it's eligible for winning the breed.
Wouldn't that be great? Because I hate to say it, but I think these breeds, is it my imagination, I hate to say they age fast or not. You know, like they...
Once again, it's the point you've made over and over again, and you're absolutely right. The issue is genes.
Genes.
So, for example, I talk about my own breed only because I know more about it.
Absolutely, it's right.
And so in my breed, there is a line of Borzois that age very rapidly.
Okay.
And so they look their best when they're about 2 years of age.
Okay.
There's another line that ages very slowly and don't look their best until they're 6 years old.
Interesting.
And
interesting.
So that's what, you know, another element that you're dealing with. So my guess is that that's also true in all breeds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That some will age faster, some won't. Also, it's got to do with, besides the genetics, how they're looked after, how they're
of
fed,
course, yes.
maintenance and all that.
Well, like, the only reason I say that is you see the poodles, and they're like 15, 16 years old, and, you know, you see certain breeds that seem to last forever, and then you have, okay, I like English Bull Terriers. You're lucky if you see one over 10, okay? And so I'm thinking, well, is that should I stereotype like that or not, you know?
Well, standard poodles probably are the longest living breed in purebred dogs. I bred standard poodles, and I bred only whites, but they lived until, one lived until she was 20.
Holy
another
smokes.
one lived until, and her daughter lived until she was 19. And so that standard poodles do have long lives. Friends of mine bred Irish wolfhounds.
Okay.
Their average life was 5 years.
Oh, 5 years old.
Yeah. And you know that's changed. People
Okay.
have been done better.
Yeah.
And you'll find Irish wolfhounds living longer now,
Right.
because people have been responsible. But that's what breeding is all about.
Well, okay, I get it.
I don't know what the lifespan is in mastiffs, but there'll be a general. I have a little Italian greyhound at home, like Cecilia.
Yeah.
Italian. She's 17.
17 years old.
She's making me crazy because
Oh.
I want to replace her, but she won't die.
17.
Because I want to replace her with a French bulldog. Right? And she knows.
17
it, so she's saying,
years
I'm
old.
sticking around. So here you have, once again, looking at the Mastiff that doesn't look like an Airedale Terrier, doesn't look like a Greyhound.
Well, that's for sure.
It has its own shape and form.
Yep.
Now, when we looked at Bull Mastiffs, there's a similarity.
Right.
There's a similarity of this type of dog and the variations around the world. If you saw a Tibetan Mastiff, it would look somewhat like this, but with a lot of hair. If you look at the Spanish Mastiff, it would look similar to this, but be different. But you'd see that it's still in the Mastiff family.
Right. Right. Those Neapolitans that were in Turner and Hooch have a really, are they all red like that? Like they're,
Neapolitans are black, yeah.
pardon me?
Neapolitans, well, Neapolitans come in several colors.
Oh, the colors, very distinctive color.
And they were bred to be guard dogs. They were bred to scare people off the
Well, they
property.
do a
That's why
good
they
job.
have those ugly heads.
Oh, yeah.
I love Neapolitans.
Yeah. They are something to see. You know those. They're really wrinkly, aren't they? Really wrinkly. I think the Simply, not that I'm doing a plug here, but the Simply Pet products, we use rescue dogs on a lot of the packaging. And one of the dogs, I think, is a Neapolitan Mastiff. It was a rescue dog. And it was, the story is unbelievable. But I would put money on that it's a Neapolitan. The wrinkles are absolutely incredible to see.
When Neapolitans started to be shown in North America, it was recommended that as a judge, you don't touch them.
You don't touch them?
Because you'll get bitten.
Really?
And
Holy. Not good
but
to have a
that's changed. I mean, it's changed. Now you can examine them.
Yeah.
But initially, they had the reputation of being very aggressive.
Really? Well, there you go. So that's the importance of breeding, just what you said, right? They just bred it right
and
out.
also the expectation of this kennel clubs that, wait a minute, I don't want a dog they don't want a dog that's going to be aggressive and attacking people.
Well, yeah, for sure. Look at how happy this guy is.
Yep.
He's so happy. Talk about a good-natured...
There's a breed that we don't recognize in Canada. It's called a Fila Brasileiro. And it's strongly, like you're not allowed to touch them.
Isn't that something?
And they're beautiful dogs.
Yeah.
I love them. You see them in, they're
But-
recognized by FCI.
Oh, yeah.
And in Mexico, because I used to live in Mexico, that there was a great breeder down there of Filas, and at the dog show, she would have these wonderful dogs, but
Yeah.
wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
But don't you think all breeds, when you get down to it, is whether, you hate to say it, but they're going to be pets. Like, people have them as companion dogs. That's what they are. So now. And I get the representative of what they were doing, but nowadays, we're 2017, these dogs, probably 1% are ever used for what they're originally bred for, so the other 99% is they have to be a companion dog.
Yeah.
So this is just talking about doing your research.
And in our culture.
Okay.
In our culture.
Well, our culture, you say can eat, like, okay, whether they bull bait them or still, or they use them, or for Australia for herding, and I get that for herding. But in Canada here, really, what dog is used for originally? Well, I got hunting dogs, right? I guess
a lot of the hunting dogs are still used.
Yeah, hunting dogs.
And they have retriever trial.
Retrieve. Oh, and I guess the sledding dogs.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big now.
So there's lots of activities.
Yeah, man-made.
For
Yeah.
some breeds
yeah.
that you can still do what they were bred to.
Right, right. Well, that's a big controversy now. Those sledding dogs, right? That was a big documentary. Did you watch that on the sledding dogs?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, they did
Because
it.
of the crossbreeding.
No. The whole industry of sled dogs. Oh, did it do a number on sled? Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. I taped it to watch it because I really wanted to keep an open mind. Like I love these people, love their dogs and all this. And it was on the documentary channel, and they try to keep an open mind, but you can't help but draw conclusions the way they presented it. So I'm sure it's a sore subject for a lot of people, but it was very eye-awakening. And you know what? I really, truly believe those people love their dogs. It's just a different form of love and our interpretation of how a dog should be treated. That was the varying factor.
But different cultures have different attitudes towards canines.
Well, these were Canadians.
Yeah.
These were Canadian people. But I can see the cultures. They have their attitude or their value system varies, you know. But they could say that about a lot of animals. Some culture, like they value the cow, and there we eat hamburgers, right?
Yeah.
So that's the big controversy
I don't
now.
know of any culture. I can't think of any culture that doesn't have canines. I was thinking, I mean, I've been to several different communities in Africa, and they have the wild dogs in Africa, but they don't have dogs as companions at all. I'm trying. Most cultures have dogs.
One way or the other, they have, for whatever function they fulfill. Some not good for the dog.
See, the Basenji was bred in Africa. The Rhodesian Ridgeback was bred in Africa.
Right? Yeah.
But it was probably the white man that bred them, not native Africans.
My cousin in Kingston, he always says when he sees a mixed breed, and we all have mixed breed dogs, he says, "You and those dingoes." He calls every mixed breed dog a dingo. And you know what? The street dogs that you do see do look like, they all have that skinny little tail. They look like survivor. I call them, like in Mexico, the wild dogs that run around Mexico. They do look like dingoes. They all have that, okay, they got to live by their wits. They got to catch their food or whatever, and they do look like a basic dog. And he always says, "You people and your dingoes."
You see, but the dingo is an Australian indigenous breed.
Right.
And
But that hasn't been domesticated, right?
It hasn't been domesticated, except you have to be licensed to be able to breed them.
Yeah, they breed dingoes in Australia.
Yes. And
But why would they do that?
There are a few in order to preserve the breed. So when we talked about Canadian indigenous breeds, the Tahltan bear dog became extinct.
Okay.
Because a person that I know very well in Australia, she has a pack of dingoes.
Oh, and are they domesticated pets?
No.
So she keeps them wild.
She keeps them wild, and they live outdoors in a paddock.
Oh.
A huge paddock, but.
Oh, well, you see, I just say things off the top of my head, and we got talking about it. I never knew that.
So, the judge right now is judging the winner's dog and winner's bitch.
Okay.
So he'll make a decision. He has to make a decision, no matter what, between those two as to which one he likes the best. So it's possible that he could give one of those best of breed.
Yeah, okay, it could go all the way.
Erase the champions.
And that's prestigious to go against all these other.
Yes, big time. So in this class, he has champions that are male. He has champions that are female. And he has a veterans, and I don't know what gender the veteran was, but I think it was male. Winner's dog, winner's bitch. So he has to pick out best of breed. If his best of breed winner is a male, then he'll pick a female for best opposite sex.
That's the, yeah, okay.
If the winner of the best of breed is a female, he has to pick a male as best opposite sex.
So are you saying there's one more class after this?
No. And then once he's picked best of breed and best opposite sex, if he hasn't used the winner's dog and the winner's bitch, he has to pick one of those to be called best of winners.
Oh, okay. That's why I thought there'd be more classes after
and now
this.
he's looking at them. The last look, one at a time. Now we should be able to tell from even from this distance which ones are males and which ones are females. Okay. Because
I like to figure out which one's a male and female without looking at the obvious, just to see how they compare in body build. Like I always, when they're coming, I say, okay, now that guy's a male. You know, so I'm not looking, I'm not the tall tale, but I don't know. I like when I'm wrong. Like if it's a real macho looking dog and it's a female, I don't know why I like doing that. I go, oh, wow, good for her.
that happened to me when I was doing a workshop, because in the Borzois, and in the Borzoi standard is the females had to be 2 to 4 inches smaller than the males.
Oh, okay.
Or the males had to be 2 to 4 inches bigger than the
Yeah,
females.
taller, yeah.
And so they brought in a line of dogs for me. And I said, well, you know, to start off with, it's very clear, you know, that the first 3 in the lineup are males, and the rest are females. And the woman standing at the front of the line turned purple because she had a female at the front of the line, but it was bigger than any of the males.
Oh, that's, jeez. See, that's what they say about assuming. Okay, you assume too much.
So he's been making his final cut.
I'm really going to watch for him pointing. Okay, there you go.
So he's made his decision as to best of breed. So there's a lot of wins there now.
Yep.
What he's done is put a best of breed, a best opposite, a best of winners, and then because it's a specialty show, from the specials class, he's brought what we call a select dog, a select bitch, which is, you don't have that in the regular class.
Oh, so yeah, that's what, a select.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those dogs all look happy because they think it's over. Do they know it's over? That's brought their smile to their face to go, oh, I gotta not run around anymore. You wouldn't call those dogs the athletes of the world, or would you?
No, not at all. They're not supposed to be.
They don't have to be athletes.
That's right.
They just give you the look.
Yes.
I used to, when I had a dog, and people, you know, they case your house these days. They knock on the door and they want to look in to see if you really have dogs. And my bull terrier, when I just say, sit there, right? And then you look, and they always used to say to them, will that dog attack? And I'd say, only if I tell it to. And I knew they were casing my house, right? I lived by myself. And you know what? When my dog passed away, it really made a difference the way of me staying by myself. I thought, I have no backup if I answer this door. A dog makes all the difference in the world. And they don't have to be, I have a neighbor beside my brother, And they wanted a guard dog. So I go, why? Any dog can be the guard to a house, right? They got this tough-looking dog and doesn't bark. I don't get it. Love those trophies. They really did a good job in those trophies. I want to see some of these Mastiffs chew on those little spongy things they're giving away. Those are really nice trophies. Oh, look at the dog. See if he likes them. They're heavy, you know. You should pick them up. They were really heavy. Those lambskin things, they were really heavy. They were like a medicine ball, you know, with the fur around them. It was really good. It made sense. They said those balls were indestructible to a Mastiff. Yeah, those round balls, I couldn't believe how heavy they were. They were medicine balls with that white lambskin looking thing, and they said they were indestructible for bull mastiffs. I would love to see them chew on one.
Now they're doing best puppy and breed.
Puppy, love the puppies.
It's nice to see so many Mastiffs. You don't see them very often.
Well, this is it. This is why they're such a cool looking dog. I mean, when they walk down the street, your head turns, right? Now you could see these dogs look different. So again, it's the interpretation of what the judge prefers, right?
Right.
Because they look pretty different.
Well, these two look very different.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was supposed to say that.
See, that's what the type. So
Type.
they're different type. They're both Mastiffs, clearly both Mastiffs, but different type.
Well, I can't say too much because last year I got in trouble. Remember when I made a comment about one of the dogs? Remember last year I got in trouble because I commented on one of the dogs and they gave me heck. I was going to say, one of those dogs have a different type of coat, and then I was going to maybe get a picture of them saying, don't mention about the dogs in the coat, about the ring. So I wasn't going to say that. But clearly, with you even saying, like, they looked a lot different dogs, or different types, as you said.
Yes. This,
yeah, they
so
do.
the judge has to decide what type.
Let alone color, let alone the color.
Yeah.
If I was getting a dog, I'd like the fawn ones, but that doesn't mean that the type is any better. I prefer the fawn color.
Now, in some breeds, the colors would be disqualifiable.
Well, yeah, okay.
But not in the.
It's what's acceptable.
So that is what it is.
Yeah. And that's when the more variance I would think in the breed, the better opportunity for being a pet or something that people can, what they prefer, right?
That's correct. So you see, when you're looking for breeding stock, and so what's the quality of the breeding stock? Mm-hmm. And then what style comes with this is a brindle.
Right.
So what does it bring with it as a brindle? And that's a brindle too. That's a fawn brindle, that's a black brindle. So what qualities that comes along with the color? So in some breeds, and once again, I don't know this breed well enough, some breeds, very specific features come with color.
Mm-hmm. And the coloration of their face, if they have a blaze, and
yes.
Like even yesterday you were saying about the Dalmatians, I was asking about the dots, right? But this is interesting, you even said this is a fawn brindle and this is a black brindle. So
that's what I would call them. I don't know whether that's what the
yeah,
breed
it's
does.
just that you distinguish. Like, can you judge a puppy on its gait at this young age for the potential of it, or it's sort of unfair because they're all gangly at this age, right?
Well, I think you can.
You can? You think you can?
Yeah, well,
It's important. at this stage, even.
And so it depends what the qualities are and what you're looking for. So I think you can, and you have to be prepared to be faced with a lot of comments if you do it, especially if you put it up over the specials.
Yes, this is true. If you do that, you better see a lot of potential. That or as they say with they have a lot of personality. Because isn't that what you pick a wife, you potential or personality?
Yes, we didn't see them here today so far, but we talked yesterday about baby puppies.
Yeah,
Remember
the younger
the
ones, the under 3, yeah, 3, yeah.
That the Kennel Club now allows people to show. And it's interesting, in that age group, that's the age group where I can tell where my great dogs are coming from.
Really? That young?
And at 7 months of age, they change. But my experience has been with my breed, the one that I thought was great at 4 months of age, at 2 becomes great again.
Oh, really? There you go.
Okay, it's addressing the question you're raising. When do you know how good it is? I know I've got a best in show dog only after I have the best in show.
Well, like you hear these breeders that breed these dogs who say, well, they sire, and the breeder got the sire of the dog or litter got the pick of the litter. Well, you're 3 weeks old and you have the pick of the litter? Like, is there a time? This pick of the litter thing, I don't quite get.
I don't, my pick of the litter is I never pick a pick of the litter until they're at least 3 months.
So they specify. You better have, you pick of the litter up till 3 and then you're on, you know.
I don't. I just watch them.
You just watch them, yeah.
And when I had my big kennels, I still watched them and I kept them all. That's why I had so many.
Yeah,
so I could learn. Okay?
Right. Right.
But because I was lucky enough, or stubborn enough, or stupid enough, I'm not sure which, to do all of that, I had a lot of experience and I watched how dogs grow.
How they develop.
Breed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as you say, this is a really good experience for those young puppies to come in.
Oh, yes.
The excitement, the traveling, what's expected of me, that's very important. So, you know, I was just thinking these younger dogs, like there's these Mastiffs, they could have easily had the same ears as a Great Dane that were cropped. So someone made that decision along the line saying, we're going to leave this dog have its floppy ears. And somewhere along the line with the Great Danes, they said, you know what, these dogs would really look good if they had pointy ears.
And the issue would be why they made that decision.
Why they made that decision. So give me one good reason. Somewhere down the line, 300 years ago, they said, I know, let's cut these dogs' ears.
If they were fighting dogs and they'd drop ears and they grab their ears,
But a Great Dane is a fighting dog?
well, I don't know.
Oh.
See, that's I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Or they wanted something to be more statuesque.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do not know why they made that decision.
Because I don't think these dogs would look good with cropped ears.
I don't either.
No. Okay, but a Great Dane's a little bit more elegant.
It's got a big,
yeah.
elegant
Okay,
head.
you can see it a little bit. It sort of fits what they were going.
They're the gentle giants, and they were the aristocratic homes.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know why.
Because I was just looking, their ears are sort of like the Great Danes that weren't cut. There's almost the same flappy ear, right?
But their face is a very different face.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure.
Their head, a very different head.
Absolutely. There. I was just looking at their ears. Then you look at these new dogs. Well, they're probably not new dogs, but they're becoming, whether that's a good thing, more popular as the cane Corsos. They sort of like crop the ears, don't crop the ears, then they look like a Mastiff. What are they? You know what I mean?
So Cane Corsos, once again, are an old breed.
They are an old breed.
They've only just recently been recognized by the kennel clubs in America, North America, so they can show them. Okay?
So you can show them and they're getting...
Because up until a few years ago, you only saw Cane Corsos at what we called rare breed shows.
Oh.
And so there are dog shows that are called rare breed shows.
Okay.
And these are for breeds that are not recognized by the Canadian Kennel Club.
Okay.
And so
Now you see, I'm going to tell you my theory on it. You're right, but this was my original theory, is that they're becoming more popular not because they were recognized, but because they're not included in the the BSL legislation. So they're a tough-looking pit bully type of dog, but yet they're not listed that they're illegal in Ontario. So I said, of course, this is my theory, my Cindy Cherry theory, is that, well, they're just taking the replacement of the league of the pit bull, whatever a pit bull is. You can say, well, it's a cane corso. It looks like a pit bull, but it's not. And that is my theory of why they're becoming popular. Not so much of why they've been recognized by the CKC, but they're the new macho dog.
well, when I was leaving here yesterday, I walked through because I parked over on the other side of the building.
Yes.
And I walked through and I saw this beautiful, big, white dog.
Yes.
And Big Mouth here said to the guy who was hanging onto the leash of this dog, I said, wow, what a beautiful Dogo Argentino.
Oh.
And he said, it's not a Dogo Argentino. And then he gave me the crossbreeds that they'd done to produce this breed. But it was a beautiful dog. I thought it was a Dogo,
Yeah.
which is a recognized breed
Right.
by the FCI. It's not recognized by American Kennel Club or Canadian Kennel Club.
Right.
But it's a big white dog. So it's somewhat similar to the Cane Corso. This dog was friendly, you know, and the guy who, you know, was a guy, I would think he and his girlfriend, you know, they were in their 20s and they loved this dog, and the dog was friendly,
Right.
you know, and all that stuff. And I thought, boy, you know, it should be over on the other side, people seeing what you can do.
Yeah, yeah.
But once again,
And it's legal. It's a legal dog. Yeah, yeah. They won't be, well, don't get me going on that BSL legislation, but I think that's where you try to explain to people, they're just going to have another dog replace all the dogs that they're trying to legalize, so what's the point, right?
well, it goes back to the conversation that we had, you know, several minutes ago, and that is the responsibility of owners.
Of course. Of course. But, you know, on the other hand, this is my thing. I notice a lot of those dogs are intact. You know, those...
They have to be intact.
No, but
Oh.
that mixed breed
Yes,
dog,
sorry, yes, sorry,
a lot of
yeah.
the dog, the macho, I call them macho bully breeds, a lot of them aren't fixed. And I know that theory is you don't fix them because they want them to bulk up and the whole deal. This is their theory, I think. And I just don't, I just think, do you not think that when they do fix them that it takes a bit of the aggression out, but maybe they don't want the aggression taken out, but it just makes them more socially acceptable if they're going to have them just as a pet? Now that you called a fawn brindle, and that's really a pretty color dog.
Yes.
I would think with these bigger breeds, you'd really have to have a well-balanced diet for those, for the calcium buildup. You know, like they have to have strong bones, wouldn't they?
Oh, yes.
To hold up a dog that's 100, how much these 250 pounds, whatever.
So now he's making a decision between the male puppy and the female puppy, and he'll make a decision as to which is the best puppy.
Best puppy.
So it's all in dog judging, it's all a process of elimination, down to one dog. But
When they're
because-
this young, it's hard to tell the difference between the male and the female, or not
well,
usually.
for me, this is clear. They're clearly male or female.
Oh,
For me, There's no question. That first one's a male, second one's a female.
Yeah, that second one's a little bit.
It's possible they could be brother and sister. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So,
I would think if you're judging and you're looking for bone structure in this, that the male might have a bit of an edge to the female for development of the, if their back straight or whatever they're looking for, you know?
yes, but that needs to be taken in consideration when
Okay.
you're judging.
Right,
okay?
yeah.
So it's not necessarily a fault.
No,
So it depends on the standard, whether the standard has indicated the difference between male.
oh, the difference, okay, they have to make the differential between the male and the female, but if they're created equal, then I have to say then the male would probably have a tendency to win more than the female if there's no differential between the two
Now here's
sexes.
a class we've never seen before this weekend. This is the brace class.
Oh, I love brace.
Okay.
I don't know why more people don't buy a brace when they have two dogs. You see them with these extended leads, don't get me, and they look like so good. This is great.
So in the brace class, the judge is now judging how identical the two are.
Oh, so they do have to be identical.
You want the
Or
closer
more.
they are to being identical, the better you have chance, except for gender.
Okay, okay.
So you can have a male and female there, but they need to look identical.
Boy, you walk down the street with two of those, you'd be...
Sorry?
You walk down the street with two of those in a brace. I mean, man, now that is cool looking.
Now, as an outsider, both of these braces are pretty close as a brace
They're...
because they've got features that are good for both of them. Like their faces are the same, they're the same size. I mean, this is not going to be an easy decision as to which one brace he's going to put up. They look pretty close.
Is there different lengths of the braces so that they can be farther apart?
It depends on how you want to manipulate them to show them off.
I would think you'd want them more separated, or unless you want to hide a fault.
It depends on what side, what you're doing.
Okay.
And they used to, I haven't seen it for years, but you see it in Europe, you don't see it here. They have a team class.
Oh, that would be nice
That's
to see.
4.
Yeah, oh.
Or more.
And would they be judged on how well they got along?
No, they have to get along very well, but they
Yeah.
have to be how close they are to being alike.
Oh, that would be something to see.
And in Europe, in the team classes, they don't have one handler. The dogs will all have a different handler. And usually, the handlers all wear the same outfit.
Oh, that would be good, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Sorry?
That second one didn't have them braced.
Well, that would be something to see, 4 of them abreast there.
Oh, yeah. They used to have it at Westminster, and it used to be one person showing the 4. But in Europe, when they have these team classes now, there's more than one person showing the dog.
Be like the Chuck races in the Calgary Stampede or something, see all these dogs going together.
So here, this show that we've just witnessed is now over with.
Okay.
But
And that was the finale, the brace.
the brace was the last class. But the breed judging will also happen in the all breed show.
Okay.
But I don't think they're bringing something else in now, so I don't know what they're
Well, this
bringing.
is what you were saying, like if this judge was judging in the all-breed show and he had already seen these dogs, he would say, well, I don't really have to look at them too much because he's already seen them in the
But he
specialty.
wouldn't do that. They'd have a different judge.
Oh, really? This judge, he wouldn't judge at all in the all-breed?
He'd judge in an all-breed show, but he wouldn't judge this breed.
Oh, really?
Because he's doing the special.
Really? So that's the rule?
So that would be a conflict. He wouldn't do the same breed.
Oh,
twice.
because he would be more geared toward putting up the breed that he
Well,
just...
He's already judged the breed, so the exhibitors wouldn't want to judge his opinion again.
Oh, they wouldn't want his opinion again. Yeah, okay, I got it. Got to mix it
But if
up.
he was judging 6 months from now,
Right.
the person who won the breed is...
Oh, I'm going to go, he likes me. I get that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, you got to weigh all these things. It makes
I don't
sense.
know what this is. Oh, I do know what this is. This is brood bitch.
Oh, yes, okay.
So this is a mother and 2 of her puppies.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't that nice? Well, it really is a
I'd
specialty
forgotten
show.
about that class, yes. And so, yes.
That's nice.
You can have stud dog class, and this is brood bitch class.
And that should be a good judge on whether it's a good brood or not, whether it passes on its good points.
That's exactly what he's judging on.
Yeah.
What he's judging on is the consistency of the get from the mother.
Mm-hmm.
In some countries, and once again, I could be wrong here. Here, it's a mom and 2 kids. In some countries, they can bring as many kids as they want.
Wouldn't that be good to see?
So
If you really wanted to make a point,
yes.
then you go, okay, look at the consistency with these, yeah.
I think in Canada it's limited to 2. I thought it was 3, but it may be limited to 2. And judging them, each judge has a different style for judging this.
A style or what they prefer?
Well, his style of judging. So what he's doing, you see, is he sent the mother by herself.
Okay.
Now he's sending the kids.
Okay.
Now what I do it differently when I'm judging. So. That's what I meant by each judge has their own style of
Well,
being.
that way you don't, if you do the same thing over and over again, you won't miss, have to remember, oh, I forgot to check their teeth or something.
So he put this one up, the best stud, the best brood bitch.
Oh, I see. That's why that dog, it's a male. So
It's a male, so
okay.
it's a stud dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it shows that this smaller female gave birth to a really bigger dog, like a lot bigger male dog, right?
Is the first one a male?
No, but that
bitch.
big guy's a male. Oh, they're 2.
No, it was a female. Yeah.
Look at the size of that one. That's interesting.
So now the show, this show is now over.
Okay. So I think we've earned a break. I think we did.
we earned a break.
I think we did.
winner, chicken dinner. float on a hot coffee and probably, yeah. Sweet. They're gonna grab something to eat.